YouTube, welcome to my Zimaleta how-to show. Today I would like to show you how to change oil on the Sprinter. To many people it's an obvious, but to some of you guys, you're still going to the dealer for these oil changes. It does not matter whether you have this model or newer models, basically the same thing. The rest of the stuff I'm going to show you myself without me being in a video, but I did want to kind of share this with you guys so that you could save money, because some of you guys paying around $300 for this oil change. Some of you may be paying less, but just the oil alone, it's like 70-80 bucks. I get basically, this is a 10 quarts of oil on this one. Per 4 quarts, I'm paying around $20. So basically about $50 it costs me for my own oil plus filter, which is between $7 and $10 I pay. I could show you guys what website you could get them pretty cheap like I get them. But anyways, I'm going to continue that a little bit later on. See you in my next steps. Alright guys, so first things first, we have the oil over here and we have the tools. I don't have the oil filter out yet. I'm going to grab one in a second, but first I wanted to point out this little tool here. I had this thing for a very long time. This here, it expands to any dimension, so you could actually change any kind of filter. I'm not sure if you could still get this kind of tool. I bought this I don't know, 20 years ago, and it still works. As you can see, 20 years ago I didn't have such nice tools. I have one of these very cheap, probably first time in my life I got this little wrench here, and I put it on and they're so cheap it kind of stayed on. So it basically I don't even remove it, so I just leave it with this tool. But it did not come with the wrench. It was just a simple tool like that. It has a hole. The reason I use these and not a little caps, because this one never gets stuck on you. It grabs it really nice, and you could change variety of different filters with this, including the plastic and metal ones. Normally I like to use a wrench number 13, but today I'm actually going to use this. And the reason I'm actually going to be using this one, because it's sort of like a I could be going up and down. I would like to minimize the amount of oil I get in my hands, so I'm going to try to attempt removing the bolt with this tool without really grabbing in a hand and stuff. I usually change oil and clean clothes. I use this little mat here. It is kind of dirty now since of all the little jobs I've been doing with it. It's just an exercise mat, and actually never use it for exercise. I use it for oil changes because it's nice and soft. This is for ab workouts. I had this thing for a long time. This is why it's already cracking and stuff. So basically, yeah, the placement of this, I know there's no light here, so let me turn it off. Okay, so now we could see these things a little bit better. So you could kind of tell I could place this right there, and it basically grabs it. Let me see, I'm going to try to attempt to replace it. So basically I'm doing it without actually turning off my camera. So it basically does twist and stuff. So I'm not left-handed, but it is working for me here. I think usually people have trouble with this filter the most. I've seen these filters kind of get stuck on there, with those other tools that's being used. I know not all of you are going to be able to find that tool, but you could all figure this out, whatever tool works for you. So it's already undone, but it's super hot. I don't want to have to lift it up like this. So my next step is, and this is not the first step. I was just showing you guys how this tool works, because it's not gonna hurt anything by me actually removing the filter. If anything, it's actually gonna help the air, drainage better, because it's gonna be breathing, just like these oil cans. But I'm pretty sure there's enough oil in the, enough air in the system to where that's not a problem anyways. So I'm gonna show you guys where this little bolt is. For some of you, that's not the first time. And as you can see, that little bolt right there, it's a number 13. So it's not very difficult at all. So you just have to remove the bolt counterclockwise, and that's pretty much it for that one. So now I'm gonna attempt to drain it. So anyways, I got this bolt loose. But my attempt at not basically touching the bolt kind of failed, because it's so loose, you know, to where the ratchet system doesn't really work, but it's very hot. I'm trying not to get burnt. Normally I don't drop the bolt, but I will this time. I don't want to really hold it. I just drove it. The best time, guys, to change this is on a hot engine. Don't get burned. Oh, good. I kind of got it stuck like that. I'll just use my tool to try to remove it. Let's see here. Okay. Look at that. It did kind of work like I planned. Not exactly, but that was the idea. So I just let this drain. And it's kind of nice to park at an angle like I did, for the forward end of it to be kind of facing down, to get as much of this old oil as possible. And then he will be good. It does not take long for this oil to drain. Usually you could do an oil change in and out in 5 minutes. So I just don't see no reason for anybody to be paying $100 or more for an oil change, unless you just don't want to get your hands dirty. Then it might be worth it for you. But especially oil changes, I'm thinking, I mean, that's like the easiest thing you could do for your vehicle to save you money. And for air filters, I actually never change my air filter. I drive on the same one the whole time. But there's a catch. I basically have a lifetime filter. You know, that's the one I'm using. In case you guys wonder like which one it is, that's a K&N filter. I ordered it online. I think I paid like 60 bucks for it. So it might be more or less, you know, give or take, depending on where you find it. So it's almost done draining, you know. There's not much to it at all. It kind of sucks that I have ruined the charging port on my phone, because I tried to make a video in the rain. You know, it was kind of fun doing it, but I kind of messed that section of the phone. So now it's really difficult. I have to charge the battery outside of the phone. I have like just a battery charger. Good thing my battery removable on the Note 4. So I have that option. Otherwise, I would have been stuck and not able to make videos with my phone. But I have other devices that I could make videos with, much better quality. But I think the phone is just so much more simpler. I could just make a video and edit it right on my phone and put it up. But most likely, you know, I'm just gonna start using the software on my computer and just load it in there and just go from there. So the oil's almost done here. And I'm gonna wait till it just starts, you know, like little driplets and stuff. And I'm gonna go ahead and place the bolt right back. In case anybody's wondering, this is full synthetic oil. I'm gonna go ahead and show you which one it is. I basically like to use Shell Rotella T6. Full synthetic. It's basically made for extreme temperatures, as you could see, 5W40. It comes in 1 gallon, which is exactly 4 quarts. And you need exactly 10 quarts in this type of Sprinter. It's a 2.7 liter. For the 3.0s, in case you guys wonder, you're gonna need about 13 and a half. I know your book says 14, okay? But I own that model, and if you're gonna put 14, most of them, you're gonna trigger a sensor. It's gonna tell you your oil is too high. So do not put 14. Just use 13 and a half quarts and you'll be fine. Okay, here's a Mercedes oil filter. I think there's maybe too much light. It's getting kind of washed out. Just in case anybody needs an actual number, because sometimes Mercedes say, you know, do you have the part number? You know, I think I paid like maybe like $10 at the Mercedes for this filter. so it's not bad. Like whenever actually I'm out of the originals, I actually need to place an order. But it's a man filter made in Germany. There it is. It's a cartridge filter. It goes right in, and they do come with rubber gaskets and stuff. I do recommend you guys change those. But if you don't, nothing's gonna happen usually. You would hope. Rarely some things do happen, but as you can see, you have quite a few little things here. I'm going to show you where some of the stuff goes, just in case somebody wants to do it the proper way and change all of these little gaskets. Usually I never change them. I just stick them in a door or something, and that's it. But I've seen you know, times where some of those gaskets did fail, and then you have like basically oil leaking out of your car, and you're like, oh, you know what to do, you know, especially you might not even have those as a spare on the road. But anyways, that's that, you know. But right now I'm going to show you guys how to put that bolt back, even though it's common sense. So let's do it. Okay, here's the oily bolt. I haven't even cleaned it, and just basically go on there. It's already just light little drips, so I'm just gonna go ahead and stick the bolt in there. And first I basically hand tighten it, and then I use the tool to lightly tighten it some more. My bolt does not have the little gasket. I must have lost it in one of the oil changes, and I never replaced it, and it's fine. I don't have any leaks. But this is what I kind of do. It's already tight. I just tighten it just a tad more, you know. There you go. You know, you don't want to overdo it because it's aluminum and you could easily strip it, but it's nice and tight. So all the oil is in there, and what I like to do next is pull this little thing out and use it for the oil filter. So now okay, the light is back, so it's hot, and we place it in here. So as you can see, we have a little metal, why am I saying metal? Little rubber gasket right here, or O-ring really, and the small one right here. And basically like another one right here. And basically just change those. You know, this is the smallest one, a little bit bigger and much bigger. And that's exactly what you have over here, this little packet. But you know guys, what I did notice, the difference between buying from Mercedes and you know, like buying it from like online German filters, this one only has 3 O-rings, and if I'm not mistaken, yes, just 3 O-rings. You need really 4. Why 4 is because one of them goes here on a dipstick. Even though that's probably a rarity that one of those will fail, but what I noticed with some of the other filters that I've been getting, also German, I forgot what they're called, some kind of weird German name, they did come with those. So for this part, it is a little bit more dirty. I'm gonna have to get some paper towels, and I will go ahead and replace those little gaskets. I haven't done it in a while, so I'll go ahead and replace them. Once you do replace them, I recommend lightly take some of this oil, doesn't have to be the cleanest oil, and put it around this little gasket here. Just put it around like nicely before you even put it on. The reason you want to do this is so you don't actually damage the gasket on your installation. This part you don't have to really worry about it too much. It's going to go in anyways inside, because once you're actually twisting this little cap on, and why it is important, you know, for you guys to do that, because I've noticed, especially for some of the 2007 models and up, if you don't put any oil here, I mean, this rubber, I mean, you could kind of imagine it's just going to be scratching on the surface of the aluminum wall, and it's just going to be basically pulling on it, and you cannot actually twist this in deep enough. So you want to have the proper seal. You need to oil it up and then nicely make it tight all the way down, you know, with your hand. You don't use a tool for this, so with your hand. I know it's going to be slipping, so you might have to get like a paper towel, stick it on top of this, and keep working in it with your hand, unless you get some special tool and you could actually, you know, use it for. But you know, I always tighten everything hand tight. You shouldn't be using a tool for this. This is an oil filter. I mean, I haven't seen none of them where you use a tool to try to actually install it. So I'll go ahead and install these little gaskets and get ready for the actual installation. I'll film that. Okay, so all the gaskets have been installed and the filter as well. Here I have the old ones and the old filter, and I use a small screwdriver to basically pull them off. I've used this regular oil to oil them up. And here is the installation. Very simple. Oh yeah, when you put this filter on, no wrong way of putting it on. Just make sure you snugly put it in case somebody wants to know like how deep to put it in. Just use this as a reference. Here's where the first rubber seal is. It just kind of slightly fits behind it, but just kind of like push it, you know, in, you know, deep enough, and then just basically lightly put it in. I haven't done nothing else since I have removed it. So basically right now I just put it on, and I'm gonna try to see if we could see exactly how far down I've installed it so far. My camera just keeps going out of focus. And since I oiled things up, it did make my job go a lot easier. Looks like I got a good seal on it. Yeah, that's good. It will not go any deeper. As you could see, it created a pretty nice closure there. There's nothing else showing. There's no hole there. I know it's kind of hard to see, but yeah, I just don't think I'm gonna get focus any better than this. But basically it's all the way down, and that's exactly what I wanted to see. I don't need to use any special force in this thing. From the top you could definitely see it's got a nice seal. It's basically right in the middle there. So that's that, you know, very simple. So now it's time for the oil, and it is taking a little bit longer to change this oil, and you guys pretty much seen me do everything except put the gaskets on, which that's a breeze if I'm not holding the camera, pulling everything off using a screwdriver. So it does take a lot longer when you're actually trying to make a video. So we're going to be putting oil here. I'm going to grab my funnel. I've never poured oil without anybody holding this, including myself, so I'm going to try to lightly pour it in there. So the first 8 quarts I just go ahead and pour in like 2 bottles, and on the third one I try to measure it out, you know, because I only need 2 quarts. So you just have to kind of go by feel. I kind of got lucky, this funnel hasn't fallen yet. It's funny I say fallen instead of fallen. I get tongue-tied sometimes. So there you go. Whoops. It's still holding. And I kind of like these Shell Rotella bottles because it's got like several. Yeah, there you go. Finally dropped. So just a light little mess here. So I'll just try to fix it. It's basically like a balancing act. I think the oil, when it was kind of pouring kind of fast, it created like a little bouncing action, and it knocked my funnel out of place. So I'm just gonna pour it in lightly. Normally I'm holding it like with one hand and pouring it like with another, but I kind of wanted to make a proper video where I show exactly how it's going on, because I see so many people, and you know, some friends of mine that still don't do their own oil changes. I could understand if you guys have some kind of like a new van and they told you they're gonna do all free oil changes, then yeah, let them do it. In case some of you guys do not want to change your oil because you're traveling, which is kind of obvious, basically Walmart's will change it for you. Just buy your own oil and bring them the oil filter. They'll charge you between $20 and $25 for an oil change. That's reasonable. But you know, I found that some locations will not do it, but most of them will.
So we are down to the third bottle. I just gotta pour it in here and just go by feel, because I don't want to have to overfill it, because then I'll be in trouble. So what I do is stick this right on the battery, and I look how much oil that I put out. So right now we pulled out basically 3 liters, and we just need to pour out just a little more. Let's see here. So that's 3 quarts right there. And the reason I'm doing this is because I have a bottle with this type of oil already that has just 1 quart in there. Here is that bottle. Let's see how much it's got in there. So this is kind of like not at a level, so we have actually exactly like 1 quart in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour that inside. Yeah, first we'll need to remove this little cap. Alright, so we got 10 quarts. I like to stick the funnel over there to keep any kind of excess oil. So basically, we just need to put the oil cap back on. And as you guys could see, I have a little bit of a different oil cap. This is not the original oil cap. I went ahead and upgraded mine, because original Mercedes oil caps, they're kind of hard to hold. So I actually was lucky enough, and I pulled this off from one of my Sprinters, where I actually had a nicer oil cap. But I'm pretty sure any parts store like Advanced Auto Parts or AutoZone, they might have a nice cap for you, because I think these are pretty much regular caps. Let's stick this back on there. For some of you guys that is really kind of like clean freaks out there, I don't mean to, call you freaks and stuff, but that's just how they usually say it. As you can see, I have a really dirty engine. You might think, wow, what a slob, but I've been an owner of a Sprinter since 2007. I had every single model from 2002 through 2007. And I'll tell you guys, washing these engines, it's not always a good idea, because there are so many sensors here, especially like on the newer models, and they're just begging to get wet. Okay, once you get them wet, you're gonna have all sorts of problems, and I'd rather have a dirty engine than have a bunch of problems with my sensors. I'm telling you guys, this is serious. For some of you guys that don't agree with me, it's okay. You guys could wash your engine, make it look nice and beautiful. It might be working for you for a long time. Maybe it never will fail, and I hope it doesn't. But for me, even though I know how to work on this thing, but every single day that I don't have to work on it, it's a blessing, because these things could be a pain, and you guys know what I'm talking about. A pain. By the way, I have the K&N sticker here, and that's the type of filter I have here. It's an original type of filament filter. And for some of you guys that's wondering if you could put like some kind of like a cold air intake on here, you can actually. I had it before, and I basically mounted it to this plastic piece. Once you pull it out, you can have a nice round area for you to actually attach some kind of filter. Now, saying that, I did have that on a 2002 model. It did not have this sensor. Okay, that's a barometric sensor. Now, if I would do it with this model, I'm not sure like how would it actually like respond with that sensor not being installed. I suppose you can probably drill a hole and install it, and maybe even do some kind of mounting bracket and actually install that. I guess you could do that. But I was not willing to go that far. I mean, if I could just buy a regular K&N filter that's square, that's gonna work originally, and it's going to be sucking air from over here, this fender, that basically works for me, just fine. So yes, the very most important part you want to do now is start your van and see if you're gonna have any kind of leakages going from anywhere. You always want to check this out, so I'm gonna go ahead and start mine. Okay, before I actually start it, I do want to kind of tell you guys one little thing that I actually will give you guys as an advice, maybe it's nothing. Maybe it has nothing to do with what I'm about to tell you. But here's the thing: if it's a summertime, you don't need to pre-warm your glow plugs by actually, you know, twisting your key and holding it there for like 3-4 seconds. You don't have to be doing it, okay? And I prefer not to warm up my glow plugs when I'm starting it in the summertime, because the engines, you know, diesel engines, they will just start right up, okay? When it's already kind of like warm climate. Right now it's summertime, so no need to pre-warm. Now in the wintertime, it's a totally different story. The reason I don't like to pre-warm my glow plugs is not because I'm worried about glow plugs going out or something, or becoming damaged. It's because sometimes, you know, by the time you actually twist your key, the computer has, you know, you're giving it all this time to figure out if there's any problems, and it might actually give you a start error code, and I really hate that code. Some of you guys had the start error code. You guys know what I'm talking about. So last time I had it, I took everything apart, and you guys see my video. I did not change a single thing. The only thing I did is taking everything apart. Why did I have a starting code? Who knows? But everything is still original. This van has 1,055 or 56,000 miles on it. I'm actually going to show you. So I basically started just quick. I don't let it think, okay? I put the key in there, and boom, I started up like that, okay? I never reset the actual timer. I usually just, you know, try to remember or write it down usually for the oil changes. And every time I fuel up, I like to knock this little thing down. So here are the miles. Look, 56,885. So you might be thinking, a million? He said a million. Well guys, this 2006 models and all the ones that's below, I'm not sure about the 2007 and up. Once you reach a million, it starts counting again. It starts counting over. So what's funny is I actually told, when I was registering this Sprinter in South Carolina, I told them that it's a 2006 and I had 1,056,000, and they looked at me funny. And they said, we can't put that down if it doesn't say that on the speedometer. How much does it say in the speedometer? And I told them it's like, I don't know, it's like 26,000 or something. So they put 26,000. So it's kind of funny. It's like I have a new van according to the VIN number. But I'm not going to cheat anybody, and I'm pretty open about it, you know, telling you guys what it is. And I really like this van. I'm going to continue driving it till the wheels fall off. And even then, I might actually end up fixing it. So I'm just going to keep driving this thing until it completely like dies on me, or I get tired of it, you know. But I really like this van. You know, due to a lot of reasons. I've been an owner of this van since I think like 2011. Yes, 2011 is when I bought it, with 650,000 miles, and now this van has, you know, past a million. Now it's got 1,056,000. I bought a brand new engine when it was 844,000 miles on it. So this engine has been completely maintained by me, and I do have a video of me showing you guys how the brand new engine sounds. You can actually see it is a brand new engine, brand new turbo. You know, I cannot say brand new everything because not everything was brand new. I did tell them go ahead and put a new fan assembly, you know, together with the fan. That's brand new AC condenser, even though it's no longer working. I think there's a hole in it, or they connected it bad. I don't care too much about AC, so I left that alone. But all the sensors are new on the engine, and the one on the filter systems. So none of that stuff will fail. The only thing that stayed old on this, and this is a given, okay, when you buy any kind of engine, they're not going to sell you an alternator with that. They're not going to sell you a power steering pump, AC compressor, and what else? You know, probably a couple things I'm forgetting that just mounts on the engine. They're not gonna, oh yeah, like an EGR. They're gonna put your EGR back on there. So all those things have, you know, stayed mine. But since then, I did replace my EGR. Not because it went out, but it's kind of like I don't know. Like I think the spring is giving out on it. You know, it still works, but I stopped using it. I put another used EGR in here, and it seems to be working like a charm. This check engine light, it is on due to auto sensor. It seems like they only last about 40,000. In case anybody needs to know how to replace the auto sensor, I could make a video later on, because at the time I replaced it, I was not making Sprinter videos, okay? But you could get the tool at any auto parts store. I usually use Advanced Auto Parts, you know, or you could use AutoZone. they'll give you the tool to replace it. You could just do it in the parking lot and just give the tool right back, no charge. Okay, so that's a little trick. I just go and I use their tools. I don't know why, but they're this nice, you know, to give you the tools, you know, in a box as a kit, you know, so you guys could actually do it. Okay, so let's see if we have any oil leakages. So places you want to check is here. No oil leaks. And look how nicely the engine works. Beautiful sound. See? This is how an engine should sound. And you do want to check your belts. I'm going to check the belt. I know it's nighttime. Of course, you don't check your belt like this. What I'm checking for is seeing if anything's wobbling. We have a belt kind of like bouncing a little bit. That's normal. That is normal. Nothing to worry. So that's kind of good. The only thing I have a little concern here, has been leaking here. Something is spraying oil, and what I'm thinking it's this sensor. I think somehow the oil is being made past the sensor and it's basically spraying on that pipe right there and everything below. It only makes sense because this is the areas that's oversprayed like that. I just don't see what else could be spraying it like this, because that's where the most oil is. I guess it's not that bad, and you can't really tell. And you always want to check at the bottom. So no oil leaks. After you change your oil, you want to let your engine run for a couple minutes. I think it's already been that, maybe like 5 minutes, just to get kind of, you know, things kind of like moving along, you know, like just nice to lubricate it and stuff. And that's about it. But anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I know it's kind of long. You could skip it, you know, towards the end, if you ever think it's too long. But I think some of you guys are watching these videos to begin with because you want to see thoroughly the right way how to do things, because you don't want to really, you know, skip any steps. And I'm pretty sure some of you guys that own sprinters, you appreciate any kind of advice you could actually get with these sprinters, just so you could make them last as long as possible, because they are wonderful engines. They just give a lot of problems if you don't properly maintain them. So if you do maintain them properly, you know, you will actually have the engine that lasts a lot longer. And now I do want to say a couple things, okay? And you guys could, you know, do what you want, of course. I've seen a lot of people use like about maybe like a quart or a little bit less of Lucas, and they have a very strong opinion about it, saying that it's the greatest thing in the world. I do not do that, okay? So some of you guys, if you do that, that's fine. But I have spoke to various shops, and I'm only talking about Mercedes shops, okay? I'm not talking about some Joe Schmo that has a garage, you know, and he just gives his own opinion. All of my advice, whenever I give it out, I've researched it thoroughly, and you know, I guess not all of it, maybe not all of it, but most of it, I only trust the best advice. You know, it has to be by the book, or it has to be somebody that is qualified in this type of field, because I want to do the proper job to my van, and I'm only telling you guys exactly how I would do it. You know, I'm not trying to like skip any steps. So shop foremans that I have spoken to, like in Mercedes shops, they told me not to use any additives inside a Mercedes engine. Just use oil, that's it, okay? Not to put any Lucas. They say no, like they look at you crazy, like if you try to do that, okay? Now I do have a friend of mine. He's been a mechanic all his life. He's fixed various engines and stuff, and I asked him his opinion, and he says what happens is if you put Lucas, it actually pulls on the pistons. So when the pistons are working, because Lucas oil kind of stays behind, if you've seen like those little things where they show you like how Lucas nicely lubricates, and that's actually the problem. It's a solution and a problem all in one, because the oil basically stays behind and it basically pulls on your pistons and stuff, and you know, causing like pistons to basically pull out and messes them up and stuff. So it's not a good idea to actually use Lucas. If you guys think I'm wrong, you know, it's okay. I don't mind. You can put in the comments, tell me that I'm wrong, maybe tell me some other advice, but I do not use any additives at all. And I actually don't use any fuel additives as well. I know, like with fuel, I'm not going to be like really saying strongly about it, you know, because with fuel, yes, you could use some fuel injector cleaners, it's fine. I don't use them, and that's because I want to basically drive my Sprinter as long as possible without using it. And I always actually, every time I fuel up, I do this little thing here, and I always monitor how much miles I've driven and how much fuel I have used. And right now, basically, if I'm at 3/4, you know, like left right there, I'm usually at 550 to 600 miles with just 3/4. My fuel economy is right around 26.5 miles per gallon. Sometimes it's 25 or just a little bit below, and I actually know if I'm going to be a little bit below, because every single state that I drive to, okay, because I'm fueling up at different stations, every station have their own quality of fuel. They're not all the same, because some of them have like less biodiesel, some of them have more. If it's more biodiesel, it's not going to be economical. I'm going to kind of show you why. Well, I wanted to show you this, but looks like we will not be able to see it in here. But I'm gonna go to the okay. Do not add petrol. Risk of engine damage. Okay, usually there's a sticker that says do not add biodiesel. This one doesn't. All right. Oh wow, I have a wasp nest in here. Look at that. I'll just close it right up. Let those suckers live. I'll come back and kill them. Okay, this one doesn't say it. I did have one of my vans, I think it was a 2002, it did have that. It said do not add biodiesel. Right, so I was trying to show you guys that they say like no biodiesel, but my vans, 4 of them do not have that anymore. Maybe it was the newer one, 2007, that I've seen that. Probably 2007. I have to really imagine it, because they have particulate filters. So it's not because it's so bad, but it's because for 2007 and up, you don't want to use biodiesel because it really messes up your particulate filter. These vans, 2005, 6, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, they don't have a particulate filter. So like that piece costs like $3,500 to replace if it ever gets clogged up. So luckily we don't have that system. So I guess we don't have that sticker here. But if you're 2007 Sprinter owner and up, yeah, they don't want you to use like biodiesels. So you have to look at some of the pumps to have the least as possible biodiesel that you could put in. Like some of them said like 5 up to 20. Now 20 might be still okay, but not above that, you know. So, you know, that being said, what I was, you know, I kind of got off topic just a little bit, you know, not too much. The more biodiesel you put in, the less fuel economy you're going to get out of it. So if you guys notice, you go to Texas and the fuel economy is like so much worse than if you're like in Illinois or like Michigan or Ohio, if you're in those states, you know, and that's because they use more biodiesels like in the South, you know, like in those places. I did notice like South Carolina's okay. Virginia, I'm like still not too sure about. But every time I measure my fuel economy, it's much better fuel economy up north than it is like in Texas, especially Texas. This is why I always say Texas, because I know like Texas is an oil state, so they do, I guess, use biodiesels a lot more. But what I did notice, the H-E-Bs and Walmarts at Florida, like Murphy USA's, they have better quality fuel than the truck stops, and it's a lot more cheaper. So for some of you guys Sprinter owners and you drive to those like places like Laredo, try to go to like H-E-B or Walmart to fuel up your fuel. Not only that you'll have fuel at like a lot cheaper cost, it's only gonna basically give you more miles per gallon. A little bit more bang for your buck, I guess. But anyways, this concludes my video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe. I'm going to be like all my life putting out videos on various things. Anything from mechanical to building stuff, a lot of DIY stuff. So like I think it's going to be a pretty fun channel to basically grow together with, you know. And the reason I, you know, make this channel is because it's fun, and I like to help my friends out and anybody that wants to, you know, like find out how to do something, so they could just watch it and just do it themselves and save money by enjoying it, doing it themselves, and so much more rewarding that way. Kind of like go back to the, you know, era where men were like really men and they did like manly stuff, you know, like fixing stuff and building like homes and stuff. You know, I just think that's what it's all about. You know, this is why some of these guys are growing out beards. They want to show their manliness, you know, that they're manly. They're gonna go chop down the tree or something. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Take care. God bless you. Good luck with your sprinter. If you need any help, let me know. Put it down in the comments below. I always check. I have my notifications on my phone. I will basically respond to your requests or your questions right away. So do not hesitate. I do like to answer any questions that you may have and help you guys out that way. Okay? There's no trouble at all. Just let me know. Okay? Bye-bye.